All right. So we were recording now. So thanks everybody for coming this morning. We have Alyssa Teed this year as our registered dietitian doing our nutrition presentation. So she's with AHS based out of High Prairie, I believe. So
Yes.
covers the Valley View Zone also. So I'm just going to let her pretty much take the wheel on this presentation. There will be time at the end to answer any questions. So just keep them for now or also put them in the chat box. But yeah, otherwise, the floor is yours. Thanks so much, Alyssa.
Thank you, Ricky. Good morning, everybody. So my name is Alyssa. I'm the dietitian at the Highbury Hospital, and I do cover Valley View. And so I'll present the Alberta Health Services Nutrition Month presentation, and we're focusing on fruits and vegetables for our Nutrition Month. If you guys have any questions, you can definitely put them in the chat box, and we can talk about them at the end. And yeah, so thank you for being here, and thank you for having me. So we'll get started. All right, so a quick overview of the presentation today. We're going to focus on why are we talking about fruits and vegetables this month. Areas to highlight is to include more fruits and vegetables in your diet throughout the day. We're going to talk about lower cost fruits and vegetables and how to reduce the waste of fruits and veggies because sometimes it's so hard to use up all of the fruits and veggies you buy, and then it is kind of a waste of money and food. And then we have some resources that we'll go over at the end. So we're focusing on fruits and vegetables this month because for Canadians, the fruit and vegetable intake has been declining pretty significantly since 2015. Fruits and vegetables are super important because they contain a fair amount of fiber, which can help with digestion. It can help with blood sugar stabilization if you have diabetes. It can help with pooping, keeping you regular, and it can also help reduce blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke, and some cancer. So it's super important that we're getting enough fruits and vegetables every day. And fruits and vegetables can be really hard to get enough of because it does take a fair amount of time to prepare them. It can take a lot of time to figure out what you want. And it can be hard to just, after a long day of work, to even want to eat fruits and vegetables. So we'll talk about some ways to include some more fruits and veggies. So at every meal and at every snack, it's important to try to include at least one fruit or a vegetable. So that could be sauteed, it could be roasted, it could be cooked fruits or veggies, it can be canned, it can be fresh, it can be frozen. It could even be, fruit in like a fruit cup or applesauce that's unsweetened. It could be dried fruit. So getting a little bit in with every snack and meal is super important. And so it's important to try to make vegetables, easy to just grab and go. So if you have like a bowl of fruit at home that you can just grab a piece when you're heading out the door or you're going to work, or if you're really hungry and you don't want to make anything, it's, easy just to grab an apple or an orange or something like that. And then it's important to buy long shelf life fruits like apples, pears, citrus fruits so that they don't spoil as quickly in comparison to berries that they typically spoil within a week. You can buy prepackaged or pre-cut, ready-to-eat fruits and vegetables that make it really easy and quick to get vegetables in. I know some of the deli sections at grocery stores will have cut up fruits and veggies. They'll have marinated fruits and veggies so that it's easy just to grab and use when you're cooking. Grab pre-washed bags of salad or spinach, carrots, fruit cups. Those sort of things are super easy just to grab and go. And then when you're cooking, if you're making something like pasta sauce or stews, soups, chilies, casseroles, adding a bit more vegetables to those dishes can be super helpful. Even if you don't want to like chew the vegetables, if you get like your um, tomatoes and peppers and onions and like cauliflower and you blend it up into a pasta sauce or something like that, that's still another great way to get vegetables into your diet. Adding vegetables or even fruit to sandwiches, sometimes adding an apple to like a grilled cheese or, a ham and cheese sandwich, that can be a really good way to get some more fruits and veggies. Tomatoes, lettuce, cucumber, bell peppers, avocado, any fruits and veggies. Another way, if you don't want them just to be raw, you can definitely add like roasted veggies to a wrap or a salad or something. Kind of changes it up so it's not just your basic cold salad. If you're making homemade pizza, or even if you're buying it from the grocery store, you can always add your own toppings to it as well. So adding more zucchini, bell peppers, spinach, tomato slices, pineapple, anything that you want, you can always add more, even if it's a frozen pizza or something. Double up on vegetables and recipes. So you can use canned, frozen, or pre-packaged vegetables. Um, so that's another way just to get a more of a punch of vegetables into your diet. And then sometimes it can take a while to, bake a potato or, that sort of thing. So you can cook vegetables fairly quickly in the microwave. So if you get a cup of vegetables and, pretty much like the same size for each piece, and you add a tablespoon or two of water to the bowl, put a lid on top of it, and you cook it for 6 to 8 minutes, it steams pretty quickly and a lot quicker than it would in the oven. So that's another way to save time, especially if it's after work and you're really tired. Some tips to include more fruit into any dish that you're really having would be adding dried, fresh, or frozen fruit to oatmeal, pancakes, waffles, could be cereal, it could be yogurt, kind of, and pretty versatile. And then you can also have fruit as a dessert. So if you bake apples or pears and you put some cinnamon on top, I've seen some people put like vanilla Greek yogurt for a little, elevation of that dessert. Um, if you want something a bit more sweeter, I know some stores carry a chocolate hummus. So it's a little bit healthier than just plain chocolate or chocolate frosting. And you can have that with fruit. So that's a pretty good one. I've had it myself and it is quite good. And it's, and it's made from chickpeas, so another benefit. You can mix sliced fruit or frozen fruit in your cereal or yogurt. And then you can also make smoothies by blending fresh, frozen, or canned yogurt. Canned fruit and yogurt and a little bit of liquid like milk or juice or something like that. So this kind of comes back to that chocolate hummus I was talking about. So you can serve raw vegetables with hummus, bean dip, a yogurt dip. Some people will take plain Greek yogurt and they'll mix ranch dressing or their favorite seasoning into it, and it's kind of like a healthier sour cream based dip. And it's really good with vegetables. Keeping your vegetables washed and sliced in the refrigerator so you can just grab and go is also a super big time saver if you have the time to do that. Or again, the grocery stores will always have um, washed and pre-cut vegetables that you can grab and go to. For kids, since 2015 as well, kids have been eating a lot less fruits and veggies. A big part of that is the cost. So vegetables have increased with their cost significantly over the last few years. Time, and then also sometimes kids just aren't interested in eating fruits and veggies. It's not something that appeals to them. The more you engage kids in, you know, preparation of the fruits and veggies, if they learn more about the vegetables themselves from like a science standpoint, if you have a garden and you help them, you get them involved with that, that will also help kind of pique their interest in fruits and veggies, um, to actually want to try them and, eat more of them as they get older. Preparing vegetables and fruits in different ways. This is great for kids, but it's also a good idea for adults too. So you can try cutting them up into sticks, roasting the vegetables. You can have a different dip or sauce to serve with them. Um, so that will just kind of make it more interesting and fun to eat fruits and veggies than just, plain cold carrot sticks. But again, sometimes people like that as well, so that's fine. Offer fruits and veggies with each meal and snack time. So, typically we start with a small amount, especially if it's a new food, and don't pressure the kid to eat them because then they're not going to want to eat them at all. Um, so that's important. And then if you're interested in learning more about feeding children and toddlers, you can scan this code and it'll take you to one of our AHS sites. So I'll leave that up for a minute if anyone wants to take a screenshot of that. So again, one of the biggest reasons why Canadians are eating less fruits and veggies since 2015 is because of the cost. It is so expensive and it's getting more expensive to buy fruits and veggies. So finding ways to make fruits and veggies a bit cheaper for you and your household is super important. So we have some tips that are hopefully helpful for you guys. So fresh fruit is great, but it's always going to be a bit more expensive than the canned and frozen vegetables. So here, this These prices came from a local grocery store in Alberta recently. So for 4 cobs of fresh corn, it was about $6. And then you get a can of corn and it's $1.25. So the canned corn is always going to be a bit cheaper. And then the frozen corn is significantly less compared to the fresh corn at $2.60 for the bag. When you're buying canned and frozen vegetables, it is important to choose um, no sodium added, packed in water. And then same with fruit, it's important to choose, no added sugar and then the fruit packed in water. Those are important just to make it a bit more healthy so you're not getting all that added sugar that we don't need. So choosing frozen and canned vegetables, again, like we were talking about, with no sugar added, no salt, is super important. And then if you are using vegetables with added salt, or even if you're getting canned fruit that's packed in a juice or a syrup, you can always rinse off the fruit or the vegetables to kind of get off that extra sugar or get off that extra salt. So that's another way that can make it a little bit more healthy. Some shopping tips. So when you're buying frozen, fresh, or um, canned vegetables, try to do that when they're on sale. It's a good way to save money. So looking at the flyers, um, buy vegetables and fruits that are ripe and will, or sorry, that are ripe or partly ripe, so that they're going to ripen on different days, and that you're not going to have like a bunch of fruits and veggies that are spoiled at the same time that you have to throw out. Some grocery stores will have reduced produce sections, so they're going to be 50% off. Typically, you'd have to use those fruits and veggies up sooner, but it is still a great way to, save money. And those kind of vegetables are great for soups and stews and sauces. So that's another great way. Some stores will also have like Tuesdays or Wednesdays, they'll have discount days. So you can take advantage of that and save like 10% or sometimes it's 15% depending on the store. That's another great way to save a bit of money when it comes to buying fruits and veggies. You can also, I think Walmart does this, but they will compare prices and they'll offer you the best price. So doing that's important. Um, if you have a car and you're able to go to different stores, finding the cheaper option, depending on what stores are available to you, it can be a way to save money. And then using coupons. So coupons can save a lot of money when it comes to not just fruits and veggies, but any household item or any product that you're buying at a main grocery store. And then with fruits and vegetables, a lot of people are buying a lot and then they end up eating, half of it or not even, and then they're throwing it out. Or the fruit and vegetables will spoil before they're able to eat it. So we have a few ways to help reduce waste when it comes to fruits and veggies and kind of, help you save a bit more money so you're not going back out and buying more fruits and veggies after. All right, so the way we store fruits and veggies will help save money. It will help save waste, so that we're storing them so that they're not spoiling super quickly. So again, we have another QR code. It'll take you, I think it's to the Canada's Food Guide, and it'll give you some more tips on storing fruits and veggies. So I'll let you guys scan that for a second, and then we'll. All right, so some tips to store fruits for freshness. So it's important to place the fruit in its original package in the fridge's vegetable and fruit drawer, because these will help keep the fruit and vegetables lasting as long as they can. It's important to eat the fresh berries first, since they only last about a week in the fridge. They do tend to spoil and get moldy pretty quickly compared to apples, oranges, grapes, those sort of things. If you're noticing your fruit starting to spoil, it's getting a bit more soft, you can always freeze it and then use it for smoothies or a dessert or something like that, so you're not throwing out a lot of fruit. The plastic vents and holes in the um, fruit and vegetables packaging will help keep fruit and vegetables fresh longer. So keeping them in these packages is important. Apples and bananas can cause fruit and other vegetables to ripen quicker, causing them to spoil quicker. So it is important to store them separately if you can, just so that everything is, still fresh and good to eat um, before the week is up. When it comes to storing vegetables, rinse the leafy greens under cold water. You can wrap them in paper towel or a tea towel, and then refrigerate them in a container or a sealed plastic bag. So this is great for arugula, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, bok choy, and that will help keep these greens lasting a lot longer than just storing them in their plastic container. When it comes to tomatoes, you can store unripe tomatoes at room temperature away from direct sunlight. And then once they're ripened, you can put them back in the vegetable drawer in the fridge and use them before they get soft and kind of mushy. When it comes to storing root vegetables, so squash, root vegetables like beets, potatoes, sweet potatoes, those sort of things, they stay fresh the longest when they're stored in a cool, dry, dark area. So a pantry, a cupboard, a cold room. Um, so this even applies for garlic and onions, turnips, so anything like that. They do store best in a cool, dark, dry place. So when you're starting to have too many ripe fruit and vegetables and it's too ripe to eat, like a banana it's starting to get way too spotty and too brown for your liking, you can freeze them. So you can freeze greens, you can grate carrots and freeze them, same with zucchini, and use them later for zucchini bread or or carrot bread. You can use them in soups, sauces, baking, smoothies, a curry, a stir fry, anything like that. So making sure you're freezing them is important so that you're not wasting your money or your products. Freezing berries before they go bad and grapes to eat as a snack or to use in smoothies. A good way for freezing grapes or berries is if you spread them out on a baking sheet and you freeze them like that separately so that they're not all clumped together. And then once all of the berries or the grapes are hardened, then you can put them into a plastic bag. So it's just kind of helpful that they're not going to clump together and squish. You can freeze overripe fruits like bananas and use in loaves, muffins, cookies, zucchinis, that sort of thing. All right, so we have, just want to go back for preventing waste. I don't think it's on this PowerPoint, but if you have like a pumpkin puree that you're using and you don't need to use all of it, or you have like a tomato paste puree, one way to kind of save those products is if you put them in a Ziploc bag and you put the Ziploc bag on a counter and you spread out the tomato paste or the pumpkin puree or anything like that. And then you put it in the freezer. You can kind of break it into pieces so that you're using like a little bit at a time going forward in the future and so that you don't have to throw it out. I've seen some people get a ruler and they'll kind of, press the ruler into the bag of tomato paste, like the flattened bag of tomato paste, and they'll make little squares out of it so that when they can break it off, it's like a square or like sort of like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of tomato paste. So just another way to kind of save those sort of items and not waste them. All right, so just a couple of resources for AHS when it comes to fruits and vegetables. So AHS's Nutrition Month for 2025 is on fruits and vegetables and together for health. So if you want to go on the AHS Nutrition website, you'll be able to find lots of tip sheets, some calendars. There'll be articles like information that you can read and displays. So you can go on ahs.ca/nutrition handouts and you'll be able to find a lot of information on fruits and vegetables, reducing food waste, and a lot more information when it comes to healthy eating in general. You can also check out the AHS Instagram and Facebook page in March and for a lot more tips and information. And then if you're looking for information for yourself or your family or your loved one, your children, we do have online classes that registered dietitians do host. So you can sign up for an online class if that's interesting to you. We have some more information on that in the next slide. I don't know if you guys can scan it, but there is another QR code there that you can scan that will take you directly to the site. You can sign up for nutrition counseling, or you can call the health link for dietitians and you can ask to speak to a dietitian if you need. So again, these virtual classes, they are free and they are led by dietitians on a variety of nutrition topics. So it can range from, pediatric nutrition. It can be for general healthy eating. It could be weight management. It could be a lot of topics. So you can scan the QR code and take a look. And then if you're interested in, your child when it comes to feeding, there are some pre-recorded videos that might be helpful. There's information on baby feeding that includes nutrition for breastfeeding, infant formulas are food first, texture progression, making baby food, and more. We have tips for success for your getting through mealtime struggles because sometimes that can be a challenge that some parents face with, their kids not wanting to eat as much as they'd want them to, or they're not liking the food, so that might be helpful. And then if you have any nutrition questions, you can call the health link at 811, ask to talk to a dietitian. They'll put you through to a dietitian who can answer your questions, or you can complete a self-referral form. And then if you want nutrition counseling, you can make an appointment yourself. You don't have to wait for a doctor to refer you or another, specialist or nurse to refer you. You can refer yourself at any time if you want to make a dietitian appointment. So if you live in the North Zone, you can call the number 780-538-7360 and make an appointment. And then for more information with healthy eating and to connect with dietitians, you can go on healthyeatingstartshere.ca and it'll take you to this site. And that is about all. That actually was a bit quicker than I had expected. Um, do you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Alyssa, for that. I do have a couple of questions, and I'll
Okay,
see if
perfect.
anybody else does. So, again, feel free to pop them in the chat, or you could just turn on your mic or camera now if you want to hop on and ask any questions. But I have a question about, you mentioned like pre-washed salads being a convenient option to get at the grocery store. But I also see those are like a frequently like recalled
Mhm.
item. So do you have any tips on that or like certain things to look for when purchasing those items?
I mean, you can always look at the best before date. Can inspect the package to see if there's any, because like sometimes there might be like a bug in it, or sometimes you can kind of tell if the spinach is starting to wilt. So you can kind of inspect it yourself that way. Definitely keep up with, I think it would be on the Canadian Food Inspection Agency website, because they'll always have information on pack things that are recalled. Um, Even though it says that it is, pre-washed, if you're still kind of concerned about that, you can always wash it yourself, in a strainer or a salad spinner, and then kind of pat it down with some paper towel and kind of inspect it that way. But yeah, keeping an eye out on foods that are being recalled, inspecting it before you purchase it, look at the best before date. I think those would be pretty helpful for trying to avoid, um, you know, purchasing a spoiled, bag of salad or anything like that.
Awesome. Alright, and I do have another question.
Okay.
You kind of touched on it, like especially with kids, but if you're trying to like set a goal for yourself and increase
Hmm.
your intake of fruits and vegetables, do you have any tips for like achieving those goals? I know when we talked privately before this meeting, talking about like staggering, or do you have any like pro tips on how to reach those nutrition goals that you set for yourself?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to setting nutrition goals, it's best to start, fairly slow and choose one or two at a time and making them very specific and measurable. So they're called SMART goals. So basically it's you're choosing maybe it's just one snack a day for 4 days of the week, and you're going to have one apple or one serving of fruit for your afternoon snack. And you do that every day for 4 days for 1 or 2 weeks. And then if you're achieving that, then you can, increase that goal to having two servings of fruit every day for 4 days for 2 weeks, or, 5 days, or whatever you think is manageable for yourself. You could always make a goal when it comes to meal planning. So when it comes to fruits and veggies, I find meal planning to be one of the things that help people succeed in getting enough fruits and vegetables. So if you have a Sunday or one day of the week where you can roast broccoli and you can roast peppers, or you can, cut up carrots and, just prepare the vegetables that you want, put them in a container in the fridge so that they're easy to grab and go. And then you can say, okay, in the morning, I'm going to take some spinach and put it in my egg wrap, or I'm going to, take these pre-cooked vegetables and I'm just going to throw them with the pasta that I made last night for lunch today. So kind of setting yourself up for success by having those fruits and veggies already, washed and portioned, or cooked or cut, can be super successful in meeting those nutrition goals. I know I've had some clients say that their partner, like their husband, they don't like fruits and veggies. So when it comes to their meals, it's, if the husband cooks, then they're never eating fruit and veggies. But one thing that you could do with that is, okay, your husband's always cooking, but you already have, steamed asparagus or roasted asparagus in the fridge that you can just grab and put on your plate. Your husband doesn't have to do that, or your partner doesn't have to do that. But if you're wanting to get more fruit and veggies, just having them prepared and ready to throw on to any meal or snack is super important. Um, Even if, say you really like, I don't know, baked goods or chips or something like that, and you're trying to reduce the amount that you're eating and you really want to eat more fruit, you can always, have a little bit, like have one small muffin or half a muffin, or portion out a few, like a small bowl of chips, and then have like grapes on the side, or have like carrot sticks with it or something, so that you're still getting that balance. You're still getting something that you like that's super, maybe like a treat food for you, and then also some fruits and veggies at the same time. I'm just trying to, balance that out. It's important too.
Awesome. Thank you. And does anybody else have any questions before we wrap this up? Feel free to hop on. Thinking everybody's going to be shy. So, as Alyssa said, if you have any questions, like especially if they're more private one-on-one questions, you could always reach out to Alyssa or any dietitians through AHS. They are a free resource. I'd love to remind people of that. So definitely take advantage of that, and all of the resources online. There is a ton of helpful information available to us. We just need to find it. So there's lots of links. So this will be recorded. So anybody that is at this presentation, if you missed getting a link, you'll be able to find it again. And yeah, so last call for any questions for right now.
I think actually one thing to add that I had forgot to, when it comes to buying like canned or frozen or like packaged fruit and veggies, even like dried fruit, one thing to keep an eye out for, and I think you guys had a presentation on this last year about reading food labels. You always want to look for low sodium, low sugar, low fat. So on the nutrition facts table, it'll have your daily percent value. And if it says 5% or less, that means it's low in that nutrient. And then if it's 15% or more, it's high in that nutrient. So typically you want to find canned fruits, canned vegetables, anything like that, with like 5% or less sugar, sodium, and fat for your daily percent value. So just a way to kind of compare what's going to have less sodium and less sugar, and vice versa. So yeah, just another kind of quick tidbit.
Thank you so much. Okay. I think that's all we got. Again, feel free to reach out to Alyssa, and on behalf of the Wellness Committee, thank you so much, Alyssa, for coming in and doing this presentation. I think all of our attendees had some takeaways from today, and will be really beneficial towards our nutrition challenge that's coming up in March. So thank you so much for your time. We
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Um, awesome.
All
So,
right.
oh,
Thank you, and have a good day, everybody.
you take care.
You too. Bye.